Manhwa MC story started in Seoul, in Jamsil bus stop.
Park Do-hyuk was talking to his horrible boss about the meeting,
when suddenly the ground trembled and a dimensional door opened.
It was an outbreak, a doorway that opens and connects to a different dimension which results in monster invading the real world.
As Park Do-hyuk was about to run away, a child was left. He could not leave the kid behind, so he picked the kid up and was about to run. But it was too late. The monsters had already arrived at their position. He thought he was done for.
However, the attack did not happen.
They were saved by a group of warriors called the Awakened. They were persons chosen by Deus and gifted with powers.
Park Do-hyuk was amazed by them.
A couple hours later, he arrived at their company.
His boss was furious because he didn't arrive at the meeting place to complete a deal. He almost died, and the boss still didn't go easy on him.
His boss gave another chance, and it would the last if he didn't finish it.
A while later, he and his friend talk about his situation, that if only he awakened in his game D and F, the one thing he has confidence in.
But his friend quickly snapped him back out to reality. Later that day, he arrived at the location to get the contract signed, but to his bad luck another doorway has appeared. It was twice in a row now.
A person called him to come to him to get cover, which he also listens and run over. Unfortunately, one of the goblins grabbed his bag containing the documents. He punched the goblin in the face, but one leaped up to attack him.
Luckily, the guard managed to grab his collar and pulled him over. The guard then activates the electric fence which shocks the goblin, but that will only hold them for some time until the Awakened arrives.
Minutes later, the Awakened arrived.
They made a quick work of the goblins, wiping them out in short time.
Even Park Do-hyuk is fanboying them. Park Do-hyuk searches for his files he left out a while ago while he was chased. The leader of the Awakened has found them and continued to spout some crap. However, their conversation is interrupted.
A large ogre has arrived. He was the boss of the goblins.
The ogre let out a shout which affects Park Do-hyuk. He can't move now because of it. The leader of the Awakened decided to fight the ogre but was easily defeated. The ogre walks toward him and swung his weapon down, but to his surprise the attack did not hit him.
Suddenly, a notification pops up telling him that he has now awakened, and was able to use his abilities in the game D and FX.
The system injected him with all the necessary experience to let him get familiar with it, and due to danger, his body was teleported to avoid it. The ogre charged at him and swung down his weapon, but he suddenly casted magic missile hitting it.
Then he dashes towards its back and casted another spell before it could react.
However, it's not dead yet. It leaped and attacked, in which he casted shield to protect himself.
Park Do-hyuk notices a sword, then quickly retrieved it.
He enchants his weapon and charged toward the ogre, killing it before it can even move. 20 years ago, in the capitals across the world, countless unknown towers appeared.
These towers were made out of materials that did not exist in this world.
Inside in these towers, a transcendent being reside and called Deus.
However, due to their respective governments, they have been sealed off. In every region of the world, large-scale outbreaks started to happen.
In order to stop this, many chosen by Deus has awakened and gifted by powers.
And now, Park Do-hyuk is one of them now, an awakened. Park Do-hyuk woke up. He realized what happened yesterday was not a dream. A notification informs him that the source of danger has been eliminated and control of his body is now returned. Realizing this, he is now a bit confused, wondering about what happened. He recalls that he was about to die to the ogre, but to his surprise, only the weapon and the crystal was left.
Then two Awakened tried to recruit him. They stopped pestering them when another person arrived.
They were the KBI, the Awakened Management Organization.
In order to address the awakening system that appeared 20 years ago, the profit-seeking guilds and the company which is in charge of maintaining the safety of the civilian and the order between the awakened, the KBI emerge.
Disoriented of what's happening, Park Do-hyuk decided to run away. The other two are not so lucky. However, the girl is sure they will meet again because he left his files.
Thinking about it, he is sure that his boss will not believe him that he failed because of another outbreak again.
He can't do much about it, so might as well understand his new abilities in order to survive as an awakened.
Park Do-hyuk is able to use his abilities in the game D and F, and the 3 jobs in the game even came along with it. Even the dual awakened who have 2 jobs are rare existence, What more to him that has 3 jobs? Park Do-hyuk was so happy that even his neighbors has to shut him up.
However, going to the dungeons was too much for him right now, so he decided to make money without fighting for now. Suddenly, he remembered that he has the mechanic skills,
And that he can replicate objects. So, he tested it on a glass cup. Moments later, it worked. The replication is successful.
He concluded that the replication is even better in the real world than in the game.
After the large-scale outbreaks, antiques and old items started to obtain dimensional energy. The relic is divided into different ranks based on their abilities.
The higher the ranks, the more value they will get.
These relics even possess abilities that helps its owner. The problem is that there were a lot of relics, but there wasn't a single awakened who can analyze them.
However, Park Do-hyuk possesses an analytical spell in D and F which can identify.
His destination was the nearest antique shop to look for relics. 3 hours later, he found a ring that can increase mana, intelligence, and can recover mana when activated. He also found other items, then decided to leave the shop.
Suddenly, his phone rang.
It was his boss.
However, he does not care anymore,
and that he has suffered so much from that bastard, so he decided to quit his job. Walking down the street, he saw 2 awakened arguing, and from the looks of it, they were about to engage in combat.
However, they were stopped by the KBI girl and told them that awakened fighting against each other are against the law, and that they would end up in jail if they are not careful.
The girl then shouts to Park Jo-hyuk, telling him to come to the office to claim his files.
At the office, the girl explained to him that she does not want to recruit him, but instead to let him register as awakened and also take an examination. After he was done with it, then he left.
Outside the building, there were many recruiters. Lucky for him, his rank was low, so they didn't pester him.
It's better to not get attention than to reject an offer and be put on a blacklist when he is just a beginner for now.
Later that day, when he got home, Park Do-hyuk decided to replicate his ring, but unfortunately, he failed due to his current low level.
He then decided to sell the others replicated to the Daysnet market.
The Daysnet is a space where the awakened community can trade. It shares all kinds of news and dungeon information. Through the Daysnet auction, you can trade relics.
In the top office of Korea's top guild, the White Lotus,
the guild master and the vice is discussing about Park Do-hyuk's items.
They are intrigued of how a new account listed 2 items, one rare and one normal at the same time with no history. They think that he was not a normal person and ordered their men to investigate.
In the park, Park Do-hyuk was seen training.
He is trying to complete a challenge task, 50 push-ups.
When he completed it, he received experience points, leveling him to 11, and class to mage.
He didn't actually think that it would work. However, looking at his stats, he was starting to look like a mage now.
Also, he was trying to obtain the wizard class passives, the auto cast and cast concentration.
And by obtaining these, he can automatically cast spells while moving. However, it can only be achieved through repetitive practice, although it failed 20 times now in his attempts, but he'll do it until it works. A kid was playing with his friend when his ball suddenly went off the road. The kid did not notice Raccoon heading towards him. However, Park Do-hyuk saw this and quickly casted a spell, Shield, to save the kid.
A close call. I'm sure the kid would reincarnate to the other world, wink wink. Anyways, Park Do-hyuk asked the kid if he was okay, and luckily the kid was not hurt. At the same time, he gained the passive skills that he wants.
At an alley, Park Do-hyuk sold his items, the belt and the pen that amounted to billions. He was so happy because it was his first time seeing this much in his account.
The next day, he decided to ride a train to Awakened Road, but was interrupted by an earthquake. It was an outbreak.
Another door has opened above him.
Arrows flew out of the door, but Park Do-hyuk was faster and easily avoided it.
He notices these monsters are not normal because the arrows that came through broke the floors. Moments later, a small monster came out with googles in his head, and this monster is a gnome.